Peace will fill the world when we finally understand that only from within can it be spread throughout the land. Every single person living peace in what we do, only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true.
Good morning, friends. I'm Leona Evans, minister at Unity of San Luis Obispo, an inclusive, progressive, spiritual community affirming the good in all life. Welcome to our Sunday morning live stream. I'm delighted that you chose to join us this morning. I'm thrilled to be here. And I'm anxious to talk with you today about our spiritual preparation for Easter, and in particular, the ideas of acceptance and non-resistance. We'll be able to just move back and embrace those ideas in a whole new and powerful way. So I'm looking forward to that. We also have great music, as always, and an inspiring meditation. So let's take this opportunity to take a deep breath and relax. We want to be focused during our time together. We want to be at peace with no outside distractions. And so as we take a big deep breath and relax, let's gently lay aside those extraneous thoughts and let us focus on the presence and power of unconditional love, which we call God the Good. Let's speak the words of our invocation statement together. I am now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. Once again, I am now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. And so it is. Amen. Let's begin our service with a wonderful joy song performed by Matthew J. Evans.
Good morning. Today we're going to sing There's Never Been a Better Time by Mark Welch. Please sing along with the lyrics on the bottom of the screen. There's never been a better time to be on this earth. Never been a better time to rise. Never been a better time to see our full worth. Let our scattered vision realize. There's never been a better time to start a new life. Never been a better time for truth. Never been a better time to turn it all around. Catch up to the dreams we have pursued. Enter this time of holy inspiration to celebrate life. A billion years we have been in preparation. Well, now the time is here for us to free up every part of us. Step into the whole of what we are. There's never been a darker time to radiate the light. Never been a darker time to see. Never been a darker time so filled with possibility. Breathing in the darkness to be free. There's never been a better time to crawl out of the past. Never been a better time for humans. Never been a better time for this whole universe. Fall away the cloak of ignorance. Enter this time of holy inspiration to celebrate life. A billion years we have been in preparation. Well, now the time is here for us to free up every part of us, step into the whole of what we are. There's never been a better time to be on this earth. Never been a better time to rise. Never been a better time to be on this earth. Never been a better time to rise. Never been a better time to be on this earth. Never been a better time to rise. Have a great morning, everybody.
Thank you so much, Matthew. That was just terrific. Thank you. Well, right now, we're about halfway into our process of spiritual preparation for Easter. In Unity, we understand that during this time we focus on the teachings of Jesus and specifically emphasize the crucifixion resurrection as a time of overcoming the most challenging of life's experience through the process of non-resistance. But what do we actually mean by non-resistance? This term is probably among the most confusing of all of our spiritual teachings because non-resistance is commonly thought of as synonymous with non-action. The other term that can be equally as confusing is acceptance, because we commonly think of acceptance as approval. So today we're going to talk about understanding non-resistance and acceptance from a more expanded perspective and use examples from Jesus' teachings to clarify these powerful ideas, which are even more timely today than they were when Jesus walked the earth. So let's begin with the basic premise that our beliefs act as filters through which we determine what's true and what isn't. When our filters become clogged with years of unresolved anger and self-condemnation, we end up with a distorted view of ourselves and the world around us. For example, if we believe we can't trust ourselves, we'll feel insecure about trusting those around us. If we believe we're superior to others, we will look down upon people as inferior. If we believe we constantly need to defend ourselves, we will see the world as a battleground. If we believe we're unworthy of being loved, we'll find rejection wherever we look. And this is why we pay so much attention to our beliefs, because as we believe, so shall we be in our world from our perspective. And so our goal then is to learn which of our beliefs will resonate with a strong and powerful reality base. We want to trust that we know how to evaluate our beliefs and how to best take action on what we believe to be true based on our highest level of consciousness. Now, throughout history, spiritual teachers and mystics have agreed that the greatest of all of the spiritual teachings is what we call the Golden Rule, which is basically to treat everyone as we would wish to be treated. And it's really important to understand that in order to practice the Golden Rule to its highest extent, we need to respect and accept ourselves, so that we hold ourselves to a place of respect and acceptance, and we also then generate that positive feeling onto others. Now, the teaching of the Golden Rule has its basis in acceptance and non-resistance. So, let's become clear that non-resistance is not synonymous with non-action. It's also not going along with what anyone says, whether we agree with it or not. Non-resistance means taking the path of least resistance. Most of the time, it's a narrow path, and it's often referred to as the road less traveled or the road not taken. Now, one of Jesus' most famous ways of practicing non-resistance is when he says, agree with thine adversary quickly. Now, many people think that Jesus is advising us not to stand up for our own point of view, to just agree with whatever our adversary says. But the fact is, Jesus is advising us to not dismiss or resist another's point of view. For example, if someone holds a belief that opposes ours, instead of arguing or refusing to accept their ideas, Jesus is asking us to acknowledge and accept that what they are saying is true for them. Instead of responding by arguing with them to prove that we're right and they're wrong, we can choose to respond by saying, I agree that this is your point of view, and I'm not going to force you to change your mind, but I hold another point of view. Arguing or refusing to accept the other's opinion, you can't possibly believe that. That kind of response sets up a tremendous amount of resistance. And it also presupposes that there's only one right way to believe. The more we resist, the weaker we become. The more contentious the dialogue becomes, the louder we get, and the less likely we are to make any headway in that relationship or to make any positive changes. When we agree with our adversary, we are acknowledging and validating another's words and beliefs. We're saying, I hear you, and I understand your point of view. There's no disrespect. There's no need to put them down. There's no need to defend ourselves. It's an act of non-resistance, or another way of putting it, effortless action. And it in no way diminishes our own point of view. Now, when Mahatma Gandhi was working to free the Indian people from British rule, he didn't waste time and energy in resisting those who opposed their freedom. In fact, in all of his correspondence with the British rulers, he was extremely kind and courteous to them. He didn't see them as enemies. He saw them as individuals who opposed his point of view, just as he was an individual who opposed their point of view. But it wasn't anything to put a lot of energy into and get all negative about it and call names and continue to browbeat those who oppose us because they oppose us. Gandhi acknowledged that his adversaries disagreed with him. That was a fact. But instead of criticizing them and seeing them as enemies, he focused his attention on what he wanted for his people. He didn't accumulate resistance toward his adversaries, nor did he cave in to their demands. But he used his energy wisely and lovingly to focus on the change he wished to see. The fact is that there's a very popular old saying, and I understand why it's popular, because it's true. And the saying goes, that which we resist persists. That which we resist persists. So when we feed energy to our adversary by wanting to prove them wrong and spending time on trying to prove that we're right, we're not spending our energy in the ways that bring our ideas to the fore and that cause us to be excited about what we're doing and what our plans and goals are. Now, there's no question that Gandhi directed the use of nonviolent resistance to take a stand for the civil rights of the Indian people. Still, it was clear that they were standing for something rather than against something else. Now, with the election coming up in 2024, you probably notice when you watch the news that there are those politicians whose main focus is on criticizing and denigrating their opponents. Everything is very argumentative, it's negative and defensive, it's angry and it's loud, and it's about wanting their constituents to know that the other party is wrong, dead wrong. However, you'll also hear politicians who focus on plans and ideas. Their energy is not focused on conquering their opponents, but of introducing bills that will benefit our economy and the American people. The key here is the power of non-resistance. The power of non-resistance. So we're going to listen to some wonderful music by Brett Mitchell and Matthew J. Evans, and then we'll come back and hear more of Jesus' teachings on the power of acceptance and non-resistance.
Here's a wonderful song, copyright 1978, a tune by Amanda McBroom. It was picked to be one of the songs in the movie Beaches with Bette Midler. It came out in 1979, and it's just a gorgeous song. It's called The Rose. Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love is the flower, and you its only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying never learns that with the sun's love in the spring becomes from Miss Amanda McBroom and the movie Beaches. It's the Rose. Won a few awards that year, I believe. Thank you, Matthew.
Just gorgeous. Love that song. Never heard it before.
Thank you so much for that beautiful song, Brett Mitchell and Matthew J. Evans. What a beautiful rendition of a very powerful and meaningful song. Well, we're talking about our spiritual preparation for Easter. There are so many ways in which we in Unity and in New Thought reinterpret the Easter message. There are many in traditional Christian thought who focus on the crucifixion and on the suffering of Jesus. For us in Unity, we understand that the crucifixion is part of a framework called crucifixion resurrection, and there are times we add ascension, because it's an upward evolutionary movement that we make when we step out into the world and live our lives choice by choice, and need to understand that there are some times when those choices will not be the wisest because we had no idea what was coming. There are other times when we feel that we virtually had no choice, in the case of natural disasters, so to speak. And we also want to bless and give thanks for the weather conditions and anyone who is involved in the snow and in the storms that are coursing through the United States and certainly in California. We're not responsible for making those decisions. It's just part of life. What we are responsible for is understanding how to respond to them. How to respond to them. Jesus tells us, as do all of the great masters, that the crucifixion leads to the resurrection, which leads to an ascension, which leads to a new beginning. And then the process continues. The crucifixion, if it can be seen as a learning experience, as a lesson that will benefit and bless us, if we can choose to not try to push it away or pretend it's not there, which is resistance, but become non-resistance to accepting what is and making choices within that framework, we will be much calmer, we will be much more centered, we will be wiser, and we'll be able to draw on the great talents and gifts that we have within us that we have not yet experienced. And so, as we live our lives each year, there is a time of crucifixion and resurrection, and we hold to this idea as not just an experience that happened to Jesus on the cross, but it's a metaphor for the experiences that happen to us when we feel crucified, when we feel like we're suffering to a greater degree than we ever have, when we understand that we're not responsible per se for this challenge, but we know that we need to accept it, to not resist it, but to move into it and beyond it. Move into it and beyond it. Because if we push it away, we will waste our valuable strength. If we deny it, we won't come up with ideas that will help us deal with it, because if it doesn't exist, then we don't need to deal with it. But the fact is that the idea of non-resistance and acceptance will remind us that the presence and power of God is within us, that this presence and power is always active and available when we are active and available. When we try to push it away, there is resistance and confusion within our consciousness. When we accept and do everything we can to not resist what is, then we'll be able to see and feel and be blessed by a way out. Jesus said, "Resist not evil." And this teaching and its profound insights are found in the Beatitudes. What makes the Beatitudes such powerful teachings is that the Beatitudes introduce the multitudes of people who were not wealthy or educated to a whole new relationship with God. Now, during the times of Jesus, during those historical times, it was believed that only the wealthy and the powerful were seen to be acceptable in the sight of God. It was believed that God showered blessings on the wealthy and the strong, and sickness and poverty were the result of being cursed or punished by God. Can you imagine how challenging it would be for someone who was not born into wealth, or someone who was born with a different ability, to try to get connected with the ever-present love of God? Apparently, they're being punished for their poverty or for their illnesses. And so Jesus brings them the gift of the Beatitudes, which explains non-resistance in a whole new way. And instead of punishing those who suffer, the Beatitudes blesses and includes those who suffer. Jesus says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness' sake, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So in these Beatitudes or blessings, Jesus is including all people as children of God. He is creating an aura of non-resistance. He is encouraging his people to be peacemakers, to be merciful, to be pure in heart. Jesus is reminding them that God is a comforter for those who mourn and will bless them through their grief and sorrow, that they're not being punished because they're grieving and sorrowing, but they need to be blessed and held in the highest compassion. Jesus emphasized that God is a God of love, and by letting go of their anger and resistance, his people will be able to feel that love, because that is what they deserve. He tells those who don't have enough to eat, he tells those who struggle to walk. You deserve the ever-present love of God. Don't resist it. It's there for you. You are a child of God. So, Jesus is our elder brother, teacher, and way shower, who teaches non-resistance as an act of love and a process through which we can overcome even the greatest of challenges. This is exemplified by the metaphor of the crucifixion resurrection and the idea that all things work together for the greater good. Now, let's touch on the concept of self-acceptance. Nathaniel Brandon, dear friend, wonderful teacher, and father of the self-esteem movement, has stated, self-acceptance is the refusal to be in an adversarial relationship with our own nature. Now, having an adversarial relationship with ourselves means dealing with constant inner conflict and resistance. The opposite of self-acceptance, of course, is self-rejection. And this is something we want to avoid at all costs because there's something that needs to be corrected in our beliefs, not necessarily in ourselves. Now, accepting ourselves does not mean we need to approve of everything we do. We just need to acknowledge that we do it. I hear you. I understand what happened. I accept the fact that what happened happened and I was a part of it. I don't have to approve of it or do it again, but I do have to accept it. Otherwise, we'll continue to be at war with ourselves. We will continue to blame others and shame ourselves for the flaws that we believe shouldn't be there, and we'll fail in our efforts to make real and lasting changes. Now, just as Jesus shared the Beatitudes with those who felt unacceptable and disenfranchised, we need to understand that we also can benefit immeasurably when we let go of our resistance to our true nature and accept the fact that we are acceptable just the way we are. Again, does this mean we have to approve of everything we do? No. Does this mean that our behavior needs to be flawless in order to be acceptable to the Lord of our being? No, not at all. We are learning and growing and evolving every moment of our lives. Our greatest blessing is to choose acceptance and non-resistance as foundations on which we build our relationships with ourselves and others. In this way, we can lift ourselves from the burdens of perfectionism and move through life with an awareness that we can choose to evaluate our experiences from the highest and most loving vantage points. Take a deep breath now and relax. This is the time in our service where we move into a time of meditation, contemplation, and integration of today's message. The blessings of the Beatitudes are among the most important of all our spiritual teachings. They demonstrate non-resistance, acceptance, and an awareness that God is a God of love, and that love extends to all. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The divine I Am, or the Christ of our being, resides within the spectrum of our consciousness. All of the love that God is within us all. All the light, wisdom, strength, and power are given to us freely and without limitation. Resist not, and accept the love of the living Spirit of truth within us and for us at all times and in all ways. And so it is. Amen. Friends, this is the time in our service when we bless the offering that we would share with Unity of San Luis Obispo. Unity of San Luis Obispo is a thriving online virtual ministry, and we have a worldwide outreach. We support civil rights and planetary transformation, and a portion of each of your gifts that we receive goes to support organizations that support those ideas. And so if you have been inspired by our services, we would really appreciate it if you would share your tithe with us. And we will put you on our prayer list. Please go to our website, by the way, unityslow.com. We have some wonderful, wonderful activities on our website, including all of our past lessons. And we also talk about our desire to step out into the world and take action to become the peace that we wish to see. So your gifts will go to support those efforts, and we thank you in advance for your generous support. Let's speak the words of our prosperity affirmation together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive.
Here is a wonderful piece by Michel Legrand from the movie Pieces of Dreams, 1971. It's also known as Little Boy Lost. Oh, Michel Legrand, what a great composer. So tuneful. Right?
Yeah, love this melody. It's such beautiful harmonies.
He's my favorite composer, I think, of movie music.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Michel Legrand.
Oh, how beautiful, Brett Mitchell and Matthew J. Evans. What a gorgeous song. Pieces of Dreams. You both did a beautiful job. Thank you. Thank you for inspiring us with your music. Let's sing our peace song, shall we?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyful vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now let's speak the words of our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Please press the like button, friends. We really enjoy hearing from you, so please put your comments in the space provided. Also, please listen to the Get Off Your Affirmation podcast. Matthew J. Evans and I have just a storehouse of interesting topics that we discuss that can educate and inspire. So please tune in. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. Happy upcoming St. Patrick's Day, which we'll talk about next week. You deserve it.
Every single person living peace in what we do. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream